We are less than 2 weeks away from Adesanya's return to the UFC, where he's going to be challenging for the belt he once had. Today we're going to be looking at one of his most dangerous punches, his fade back left hook. August 17th, I believe, in Australia, Adesanya is going to be fighting Dricus, and this is an interesting contest. We're not going to go into, who's going to win, how I see it playing out today. I might do a future episode on that if you're interested in it. But what we're going to be focusing on is that left hook, which Adesanya used against Whitaker and also against Costa. And I love this thing because he keeps himself so safe as he executes. Let me just pull him in here just to help us out for the demo. So what most people end up doing when they throw their left hook, they're either shifting their weight a little bit forward or they're standing the ground and they have their head directly above their hips. This is very normal. It's very regular. It's a good way to create lots of power. But what we see Adesanya do is actually keep himself very safe. His lean back is going to bring him out of range of the straight punch, or if it doesn't bring him out of range, it at least allows him to help absorb the shock, right? If you stand your ground and a straight punch comes in, you take it, and then you throw your hook, it's not going to have that same ability to actually knock people down. But when you fade back with it, you're not going to have that same whiplash sort of impact. So he can get himself to that safe distance while executing a very devastating power punch. Now, the interesting thing about this is, number one, how does he throw his hook? And number two, what is he doing with his legs? First thing, if you want to be at that safe zone, you have to throw a longer hook. He can't be in here and go, okay, I'm going to lean back, but now still be very easily within punch range. He's doing this from more at this distance, almost where he's just at this jab point, and then from there he fades himself back. Now, what you can do, if you're ever finding like, oh, okay, I'm throwing my hook, but I feel like it's more of a slap, right? Long ones feel like slaps. Practice curling your wrist. Just that little wrist curl will take the impact from the palm to the knuckles, and it doesn't matter if my arm is this straight or more like that, you're still going to get substantial power. In addition, Adesanya shifts his weight to the point where you can almost see this lead foot elevate. It's not actually elevating, but he gets very close. He's taking the brunt of the weight on this back leg, and as he shifts backwards, he's able to really extend. Now, I noticed that his back also almost flexes backward. He actually gets his head behind the rear foot. Not everybody has that ability. Depends, I guess, on how well you can limbo and the flexibility back here. But his ability to be in here and then lean back and have all of this weight here, have his head completely out of distance, and still land punches which score knockdowns, that is pretty spectacular. And I'd love to let everybody know that I now have a membership community that you can join. Videos drop on Fridays, and we're going through training tactics that I use that help me win all these belts. I explain why I do it, and then together we run through something like 4 to 5 minutes of training, and you can add this in to every training session you do. It's going to make you strong, it's going to make you confident. This is a community which you are going to be so happy you joined. Let's talk about how you might go about training this. Because just jumping into a sparring session and go, okay, I'm going to try it, you might feel like I have zero success. And when you have zero success on something, very quickly you give up on it. So I would suggest getting yourself into a range where you go, yeah, I'm not at the exact full extension of my jab, but I'm fairly close. Kind of like if I hit, I can follow through. Right in there. And now from this position, you're going to get that little fade back. You can tip your head forward to start, get the little fade back, feel the brunt of the weight come to the back leg, and throw and see if you can aim for the jaw. That's why he's so successful. If I come and I hit him up here, or my arm gets kind of stuck and I have to rechamber, it's not going to have that same power as catching that chin. In tight, maybe with a shot first, and then get that fade back, and of course, be ready for the follow-up. First you practice and take a pause, check everything, and then very quickly get into the point where you're getting it right back. Hitting a couple shots, oh, I see something coming, and lean. That's how I would go about training it. Just drill, 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 Not a big fan of bobs, but in this instance, it's actually great because I can practice hitting and following through. If you're on a heavy bag, I would just sort of hit the front of the heavy bag as opposed to bouncing off, just kind of like this. And get that still whip through because you need it when you're throwing a long left hook. So there's a technique from one of the best strikers in MMA that you can add to your arsenal. Thank you for joining, guys. As always, train hard. I will see you back here soon for another episode.